Hi there, I'm Tanya Peluso, and I am the founder of Tribal Truth, which is an organization I started a little over 3 years ago to bring women together in partnership and collaboration to really support one another's dreams. Today I want to share with you the truth about sex, money, and sisterhood. And you're probably like, what? Those 3 topics together? Oh my god, this is going to be really, really hot and juicy and a little bit edgy. Exactly, because I have found that these three topics are the most difficult for women to talk about and to be empowered around. Sexuality, money, how to earn how much we think that we should be making for our gifts. We have something there around like really receiving for what we're worth. And sisterhood. Like really learning how to collaborate and not be in scarcity and competition with one another. We're grown up, with this catty, mean girl mentality that so many of us have felt so burned that we put up, a little bit of distance between us and the other sisters. And so what I've also seen is that sexuality is really being seen and being visible out there in the world as our full self-expression. Because our sexuality is so connected with our creativity. It's our life force. It's our essence as women. And if we're struggling, right, to really embody that and to be in our womb, what happens? We're in our head. We're way up here, cut off by the neck. We're not connected with our bodies. And so when we're in our head, we're thinking a lot about what other people are thinking about us, how we're being perceived. And we're in this very masculine way of interacting with the world. And we are not fully self-expressed. We can't really truly be self-expressed if we're not in our bodies. So let's dive in. I want to start with sisterhood because for me, sisterhood has been the container. It's been the thing that's held the space for me to go deeper into my sexuality and some of my stories around money and healing some of that pain around not feeling like I was good enough. So specifically, let's go first into sexuality and then I'll go into money. So for me, I have never actually felt connected with my body growing up. I didn't know when my period was. I didn't know how to have an orgasm. And so it wasn't until I actually started Tribal Truth and I started to open myself up and and start to meet experts in sexuality that I started to get connected. And I started to come into my body and feel and tap into my creative power and to really start to find more of the balance between my masculine and feminine energy. And the more that I got in touch with my pleasure, with my sexuality, the more that I was able to start to be more in my feminine energy and start to have things to just flow and come to me and be so much easier than when I was so much in my head and disconnected from my body. And it was very much this masculine forcing, manipulating, trying to make things happen, like spinning my wheels. So I went way over into my feminine, and it's only been recently that I've been able to integrate the two together and still be in my body, but also be able to do the planning and the strategy that's so part of the masculine and find this really beautiful balance. For me, that's really started to work, where I can be in flow, but I can also still produce results. I think this is really important for women who are entrepreneurs, is really finding that balance and finding the integration. And part of this is really learning how to receive. And how we can start to learn how to receive is in the bedroom, is actually through our sexuality and opening ourselves up and being ready for the unknown and really allowing ourselves to have desires, to feel indulgent, to have pleasure. That's receiving. It's so critical, and yet I think it's something that we really hold ourselves back from. So my tip for you and my action step for you to take would be, and I'm going to just say this, but if you don't have one already, go get a vibrator and go get 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, a little bit edgy. Probably shouldn't be saying this on video, but I am, because I think it's important if you're not pleasuring yourself and learning your own body. Learning how to really have that pleasure and giving that to yourself. Have a date with yourself. So money. Oh, money. Money, it's so interesting to me how much we're in scarcity around it. And when we have it, we still think we don't have it. So many times we're afraid to ask for what we're worth. We're afraid to ask to receive money. And there's just so much that's tied up there. And it's not just you. It's not just me. It's not just your sister. It's our whole society is very much in this scarcity mentality around money. So you can give yourself a break for a moment and kind of shake it off, because this is a conversation that we've inherited. And really it's an opportunity for us to start to break that bondage from that conversation and start to create our own new money story. For me, it's about owning our worth. And owning our worth is not looking at what you're doing, but who you're being. And really looking at who you're being because you simply be. You were born. And that is enough. If you can actually believe for a moment that you just sitting here in your seat is enough, that there's nothing you have to do, and you can still receive money. Imagine that. You didn't work for money anymore. Could you wrap your head around this? This is something that I've been personally looking at lately, is how can I receive money from known and unknown sources without doing anything, simply by who I'm being, because the universe is going to support me. Now this doesn't mean that we're just going to watch TV all day or just lay in bed all day. Although how many monks have you heard about, like, who are just meditating all day? They're not actually doing anything and they're still being taken care of. The universe is still providing them what they need. I think this is such a shift for so many of us to believe that I am enough, I am worthy simply because I was born. And to take that a little bit deeper of you were born with very specific gifts and you were born for a very specific reason. And it's not so much about doing and the pushing, but it's about just being and embodying that message that you want to share. And then, of course, sharing it, but it's more about the embodiment. Most recently, I put together an event called Honoring the Masculine. It's been one of the most successful events that I put on. With the last two that I had were over almost 100 people at the first one, about 90, and then over 100 at the second one. And there was very little effort that I put in. But I was being the embodiment of honoring the masculine. Honoring the masculine within myself and honoring the masculine in the men around me and providing that space. And at that event, I didn't do anything. I sat there and held space. I facilitated a conversation, but I didn't have to do anything. And it started to really click inside of me that this was my natural gift and that there's really little for me to do but to just embody the message. And the money will show up. The people will show up. Really powerful. So I'd like for you for this section is that action step is looking at what are your inherent gifts and what's the embodiment of that look like. So really take a moment to write down and to reflect and to meditate on who you're being as the embodiment of the message that you have. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this today. I've got an amazing event coming up called Sex, Money, Sisterhood in San Diego on June 14th, 15th, and 16th. For you to feel super empowered in your self-expression, owning your worth, and being the leader who you are. And being in the container of sisterhood and really learning how to lean into your edge with sex and money while feeling supported, probably the most supported you've ever felt in your life by the Sisterhood container. So I hope to see you there. You'll see the link, and I'll see you hopefully there, or you could come and check me out at tribal-truth.com.